Welcome to the Global Reader. Today, we chart a course back to the late 15th century to explore the epochal voyages of Christopher Columbus, and name forever linked to the of exploration and the dramatic convergence of two worlds. Born in Genoa, Italy in 1451, Columbus was not a mere sailor. He was a visionary, obsessed with a radical yet ultimately flawed geographical theory that one could reach the East Indies by sailing west across the vast, unknown Atlantic Ocean. His story is one of unwavering resolve, intense political maneuvering, and a quest that would permanently redraw the world's coastlines and trade routes. Our English focus today is mastering geographical vocabulary. We will use precise language to describe the terrain, bodies of water, and landmarks that defined his journey. You will gain a command of words like peninsula, isthmus, archipelago, latitude, and prevailing winds, giving you the tools to discuss cartography, exploration, and the planet's physical features with accuracy and fluency. Chapter 1. The Conviction and the Cartographer's Dream. Christopher Columbus began his life as a young mariner, traveling throughout the Mediterranean Sea and along the western coastline of Europe and Africa. During these formative years, he developed a deep understanding of celestial navigation and oceanic currents. He was a skilled cartographer, continually studying maps and accounts of previous voyages. The central conviction of his life was simple. The Earth was a sphere, and therefore one could reach Asia by sailing west. This idea was not entirely new, but Columbus's innovation lay in his drastic miscalculation of the Earth's circumference. He believed Asia was far closer than it actually was, underestimating the distance by thousands of nautical miles. The actual vastness of the Atlantic Ocean was unknown to him. 4 years Columbus royal patronage for his audacious expedition. He first presented his plan to the King of Portugal, who rejected it based on his advisors' accurate geographical estimates. Subsequently, Columbus spent nearly a decade lobbying the monarchs of Spain, Ferdinand, and Isabella. He faced skepticism from their own maritime experts, who were wary of his unproven theories and the immense cost. It was not until 1492, after the Spanish victory at Granada, that the monarchs finally granted Columbus the necessary stipulations. He was given the title of Admiral of the Ocean Sea, appointed viceroy of any lands he might discover, and promised a significant share of the wealth. The stage was set for his epochal journey across the great expanse of the Western Sea. Chapter 2. The First Voyage in the Uncharted Archipelago. On August 3, 1492, Columbus departed from Palos, Spain with 3 small ships, the Santa Maria, his flagship, the Pinta, and the Nina. The initial leg of the journey took the fleet south to the Canary Islands, a Spanish outpost off the western coastline of Africa. This was a strategic decision, as the Canaries were located at the latitude of the prevailing winds, the trade winds that would push the caravels steadily westward. After resupplying at the Canaries, the 3 ships sailed into the uncharted waters of the Atlantic. The voyage was long and monotonous, lasting over 5 weeks. The crew grew restless and fearful, convinced that they had sailed past the point of no return. Columbus, relying on his skill as a navigator and his understanding of celestial movements, kept 2 logs, one that recorded the true distance traveled and another that deliberately underestimated it to calm the rising mutiny among the sailors. Finally, on October 12, 1492, at 2 a.m., a lookout on the Pinta spotted land. They had arrived at an island in the Bahamas, which Columbus named San Salvador. He believed he had reached an outlying island. He subsequently spent 3 months exploring the numerous islands of this archipelago, including the larger islands that would later be named Cuba and Hispaniola. During this exploration, Columbus met the indigenous Taino people. He meticulously documented the tropical climate, the lush vegetation, and the coral reefs that lined the shallow bays. He noted that the local inhabitants had no knowledge of iron or complex weaponry, a fact that would have profound and tragic consequences for them. Chapter 3. The Exploitation and the Colonial Outpost. Columbus's first voyage ended with a shipwreck on Christmas Day 1492, when the Santa Maria ran aground on a reef off the coast of Hispaniola. Following this disaster, he made the decision to establish a fort using the wreckage. This fort, named La Navidad, became the first European colonial outpost in the New World. Leaving behind 39 men, Columbus departed on January 16, 1493, to make his triumphant return to Spain. Upon his return, Columbus was showered with honors. He brought back gold, exotic parrots, and several Taino captives, all presented as proof that he had reached Asia. The accounts of his discovery electrified Europe, sparking an unprecedented frenzy for exploration and riches. The entire geographical and political landscape of Europe was changed in a single year. Subsequent voyages were far larger and more focused on exploitation. His second expedition in 1493 comprised 17 ships and over 1,200 men, including soldiers, settlers, and priests. He discovered the Lesser Antilles, Puerto Rico, and Jamaica, further expanding the vast archipelago he had uncovered. During this voyage, he founded Isabella, the first proper European town in the Americas, but it was also marked by increasing conflict and brutality towards the indigenous population. Columbus imposed a harsh system of tributine forced labor to extract gold, which led to widespread suffering and death among the Taino. The era of colonization had begun. Chapter 4: The Search for the Strait and the Mainland. Despite the mounting evidence that the lands he had discovered were not Asia, Columbus remained doggedly committed to his original theory. His third voyage in 1498 was driven by the intense desire to locate the Asian continent itself and find the mythical strait that would lead him to the Spice Islands. During this voyage, Columbus first sighted the mainland of South America, specifically the peninsula of Paria in modern-day Venezuela. He sailed along the delta of the Orinoco River, noting the immense volume of fresh water flowing into the ocean. This was a strong geographical clue that he had encountered a continent, not just another island. He later reached the coast of Central America, still searching for the elusive passage. His final expedition in 1502 was dedicated entirely to finding the strait. He explored the coastline of Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, and Panama. He found the Isthmus of Panama, a narrow strip of land connecting two larger landmasses, but he did not find the passage. The dense jungle terrain and the hostile clashes with local tribes made the trek inland impossible. He was only miles from the Pacific Ocean, but he remained unaware of the immense continent that blocked his way. He would spend a year shipwrecked on the coast of Jamaica, suffering hardship and facing mutiny from his remaining crew. Even upon his final return to Spain in 1504, he died in 1506, still firmly believing Thade had found a new route to Asia and that the lands he had encountered were the East Indies. Chapter 5: A Legacy of Geographical Redefinition. The legacy of Christopher Columbus is complex and controversial. While he is credited with initiating the age of exploration, his actions also ushered in the brutal array of colonization and the devastating consequences for the indigenous populations. From a geographical perspective, however, his achievements were truly epochal. He was the first to establish a sustainable maritime route across the Atlantic, utilizing the prevailing winds and currents in a way no one had before. His voyages irrevocably changed Western cartography, demonstrating that the world was far larger than previously conceived and containing entire continents unknown to European scholars. The lands he discovered were later named America after Amerigo Vespucci, a fellow navigator who was the first to firmly assert that the territories were a new world, a separate landmass from Asia. Columbus and wavering Gressel had unlocked the Western Hemisphere, leading to a massive transfer of people, plants, animals, and culture known as the Columbian Exchange. This exchange fundamentally reshaped the demographics and ecology of the entire globe, from the plains to the coasts. Ultimately, Columbus did not find Asia or the Strait, but he achieved something far more profound: he initiated theory of global interconnectedness by bridging the vast oceanic divide between the Eastern and Western hemispheres. Conclusion: Mastering the Topography of English. The story of Columbus is a journey across the geography of the late 15th century. It was a tale of mistaken identity that led to a geographical revolution. For English learners, you have now mastered a rich geographical vocabulary. You can accurately describe the features of the lands he encountered, from the vast expanse of the Atlantic Ocean to the narrow Isthmus of Panama. By using words like archipelago, latitude, peninsula, and coastline, you can speak with the precision of a true navigator. Keep practicing these terms to cement your ability to discuss the physical world in detail.